All right, welcome. I've got a balance practice for you today that's a little different. In yoga, when we talk about balance poses, we spend a lot of time standing on one leg. There's nothing wrong with that. One-legged standing is important for walking, for going upstairs. There are times when we have to be on one leg. And there are also times when we have both feet on the ground, when we need to be able to hold ourselves up. And so this can be a great way to work on balance if you find standing on one leg really difficult. But as a person who can stand on one leg, I found working on balance in different ways where I actually have both feet supported to be really, really helpful. So we'll play with just a few of those things that you can do today. It'll be helpful for this practice for you to have a yoga block. If you don't have a yoga block, you may be able to work with other objects. We are going to want to have something here that you can put a foot up on. It does not have to carry all of your weight. So you might stack some books. You might have a firm rectangular Tupperware container or something like that that you're able to use for this practice. I also have a wall here. Does not hurt to have a wall around, especially since some of these things can feel a little unfamiliar. And so it's helpful psychologically and also sometimes for us to build our balance skills if we have something that we are able to hold on to. So first we're just going to stand on 2 feet and get that experience. Have your feet wide enough that you feel really solid. And feel the ground beneath your feet, seeing if you can sense how your weight is distributed between your 2 feet. And for this first thing, I'm actually going to move this block out to the side. For the first thing we're going to do, we're just going to take one foot and step it over in front of the other foot. So I'm not quite on a balance beam here. You could be if you wanted to be. But I am taking my foot just slightly over the midline of my body and just in front of the other foot. And so now my body has to figure out how to stabilize. This is where the wall is really handy because this is actually quite tricky. Continue to breathe and just get curious about what your body is doing here. This probably isn't a way you're going to be spending a lot of time walking, but it can be really useful for just seeing how your body negotiates when you put it in an unusual position. And a position, by the way, where it's a little bit harder for your body to use maybe some of the muscles it normally uses to maintain your balance. And then you might take another step forward, take your other foot in front, and see, is this harder or easier? What's going on as you're in this position? If you hold on to something, are you able to relax more? And then what comes online to help support you, right? So this is an opportunity to really observe what happens when we have both feet on the ground, but we really narrow the stance, right? Stand in a little bit of an unfamiliar position, and then come back to your regular position. Both feet on the floor, stand and notice. And how does it feel now, having put yourself off balance a little bit? How does it feel then to stand on both feet? From here, we're going to take the block and we're going to place it in front of your left foot. And then we're going to shift your weight over onto your right foot. You can hold the wall if you want to. We're going to try to keep the pelvis level as you lift your left leg up and place your left foot on top of that block. So now I have both feet connected to something, but I'm off balance, I'm off kilter from how I normally would be. And then we're going to see what happens as we try to stabilize on this right leg. Nice, full, easy breaths. Getting grounded on that standing leg. noticing what happens. Feel free to use the wall, especially as we go through the transitions. So seeing if you can maintain this nice steady pelvis as you step your left foot back down to the floor. And then we're going to take the block over in front of the right foot. Now the weight is going to come over onto the left foot. To see if you can keep the pelvis relatively still as you step that right leg up onto the block. So now here we are, we're a little bit off of our regular stance. We're even off of our regular flat walking stance because this leg is elevated. Throws things off a little bit, doesn't it? And then seeing how you negotiate with your body to be able to maintain your position here, right? Just seeing what happens. The wall is here. Notice what you feel working, where the effort is, where you're able to relax perhaps and maintain this position. And then we're going to step this foot back down, keeping the pelvis quiet if you can. And then we're going to take the block over next to and slightly in front of the right foot. So now you're going to bring your weight onto your right leg. Keep your pelvis relatively even. See if you can step your left leg across. So you're touching the toes down on the other side of the right. Now some of us will do better if the block is closer to the front of the right foot or even in front of the right foot. Some of us will also do better if the block is more forward. So you can play with what works for you. We want to try to be able to keep the pelvis relatively stable. Now we've stepped this foot across the midline of your body. So there's some additional confusion maybe going on within your system. Wall is here. Notice what you feel in the right leg. How is the right leg holding you up? Right? So we have this second point of contact through the left leg. It's a little harder for us to use it both because of how the left leg is positioned and because this is a little bit unusual for our brains. When you're ready, you're going to step back. We'll take that block over towards the left. It might be a little bit beside the left foot, might be a little bit in front of the left foot. And we're going to bring the weight onto the left leg, step the right leg across, touch those toes onto the block. Now, two sides tend to be really different when it comes to balance, totally normal. This leg, I actually would be able to step it a little bit more back and over, so you can play with different positioning depending on what's going on in your body. There's no objective standard here, right? We're just changing things up and seeing what your body does. Keep breathing. Keep noticing what you feel. How are you stabilizing? What's different if you just lightly touch the wall? The wall's not holding me up here, but it's providing my brain with a little more information and a little bit more security. And that changes up what I'm experiencing. So you have lots and lots of options here. When you're ready, no rush, you're going to step this right foot back down and then come back to stand on both feet again, allowing both feet to support your weight, noticing what relaxes, what settles, how your breath feels, what happens to your overall state of being. How does it feel to stand on both feet? There are lots of variations like this you can play with. I hope this was fun. Feel free to keep playing. I'm sure your imagination can place that block in all kinds of different places. And it is something that I've been finding really helpful. If you have questions or you want to share your experiences, I'd love to hear them in the comments. And I hope you enjoy exploring this one.